75%. That is the percentage of Christian men who view pornography. And for women, it is 40%. But the number that should actually terrify us is 11. 11 years old, the average age of first exposure. We gather for worship, whether we meet on Saturday or Sunday, singing the hymns, shaking hands, and projecting an image of moral victory. But behind closed doors, a completely different reality is playing out on glowing screens.
It is not just about pornography. It is the silent, daily, exhausting struggle with lust and masturbation. And it is quietly rewiring the brains of our youth. Why is the church completely silent about the single most damaging crisis happening inside its own walls? Welcome to Doctrine Distilled. Let's distill the truth.
Here is the honest truth. The church has not done a good job with this, and the silence has cost us. Most of us were taught to treat sexual sin as a category all its own. We are taught that if you struggle with pride or anger or greed, it's a work in progress. But if you struggle with lust or the compulsive habit of masturbation, you are labeled. You sit in the pew and feel like a fraud. You are quietly moved to the back row in your own mind.
And honestly, if you grew up in that environment, you had no reason to question it. We thought we were protecting purity, but we were just building a culture of shame. And shame doesn't kill sin. Shame drives it underground. When we treat this struggle as a mark of permanent failure, we guarantee that the people bleeding from it will never, ever ask for help.
Everyone is asking the wrong question. We keep asking, how do I get more willpower? But the question is not whether your willpower is strong enough. The question is whether you are trying to debug a hardware exploit with a software patch. Think of the human brain like a beautifully designed operating system. God built it with a complex reward system. Dopamine is the chemical code that tells us this is good, do it again. It's how we survive, connect, and thrive. But pornography and the habitual, compulsive use of masturbation act together like a malware exploit. They flood the brain's reward center with supernormal stimuli, hijacking the dopamine pathways and rewriting the baseline. The framework for this series is this. You are not a bad person who happens to struggle with a bad habit. You are a good person whose neurological hardware has been hijacked. And you cannot debug a system error just by feeling guilty about it. You have to rewrite the code. Let's look at the data. Because to fix a problem, you first have to measure it. First, the sheer scale of the infection. Recent research shows that 75% of Christian men and 40% of Christian women view pornography on some level. That is 3 out of 4 men in your church. And it's accelerating. An 11-point rise for men and a massive 25-point rise for women over just the last 8 years. Among Christians aged 18 to 24, 76% actively search for it. For our youth, this isn't just about occasional pornography. It is the deeply ingrained daily habit of masturbation tied to screens. The average age of first exposure is now 11 years old. We are not talking about a fringe issue. We are talking about the default neurological experience of an entire generation of 5th graders. Second, the leadership gap. You would think the church is mobilizing to fight this. In surveys, 57% of pastors identify porn and sexual addiction as the most damaging issue in their congregation. But here is the shocking part. Only 10% of churches actually offer any programs to help. Pastors see the building on fire, but they aren't handing out hoses. Why? Because pastoral discomfort is real. Many pastors are fighting this exact same battle in private. The shepherds are wounded, so the sheep are left to wander alone. Third, the isolation factor. This is the most crushing statistic of all. 82% of Christians say they have absolutely no one helping them quit. And among young Christian men, 51% say they are actively addicted. These are your future husbands, your future fathers, your future church leaders, and they are fighting a neurological war in complete, suffocating silence. The enemy's greatest weapon against the church isn't persecution from the outside, it's the silence on the inside. I am going to say something here that most church leaders will not say. The traditional advice, just pray harder, put a filter on your phone, or just stop masturbating, often fails. And here is the sharpest version of the challenge that makes you want to turn off the video. But isn't this just a lack of faith? If I just prayed harder, I could stop. Why can't I? It fails. Not because God's power is weak. It fails because we are confusing categories. We are treating a deep neurological loop as if it were a simple moral choice. We are handing them a filter for their phone while the malware is rewriting their brain. You cannot outpray a hijacked dopamine receptor any more than you can outpray a broken leg. Acknowledging the failure of our old methods doesn't mean we give up. It means we finally stop using broken tools and we start looking for the actual cure. So what changes on Monday morning if we finally break the silence? Everything. If we keep this in the dark, we will lose the next generation. We will raise up young men and women who are physically present in the church, but whose minds, hearts, and capacities for intimacy have been entirely hijacked. But if we bring this into the light, something miraculous happens. When we remove the shame, the addiction loses its power. You don't just save a young person from a bad habit, you reclaim their ability to truly love their future spouse. You reclaim their ability to see others as deeply valued humans, not objects. You reclaim the integrity of the church. The silence isn't protecting your purity. It's protecting the exploiter. If you are tired of sitting in the dark after the screen goes black and you are ready to stop hiding, drop "I'm stepping into the light" in the comments below. Let's break the silence together.
But to rewrite the code, we need to look at the original source code. Next time, we are opening up the Sermon on the Mount. What did Jesus actually mean when he talked about lust? We're going to find out that his words weren't meant to crush you, they were meant to set you free. Because deep theology deserves simple truth. And that is exactly what we are here to distill. Together. See you in the next video.